Good morning, students. It's a pleasure to have you back again in our English class. In the previous module, we had read and understood the poem The Clothesline. Let us look at the poetic devices used in the poem in today's module. Let us begin with the first stanza. Look at the first line. Hand in hand, they dance in a row. Here, the word hand is repeated for poetic effect. Such a poetic device in which the words get repeated is called as repetition. Let's move to the next line. Flip, flap, flop, and away they go. Here, the words flip, flap, flop begin with the same sound flip. The poetic device in which the same sound is repeated is known as alliteration. Children, remember, in repetition, the entire word is repeated, whereas in alliteration, the words begin with the same sound. Let's go to the next line. Fluttering creatures as white as snow. Here, the clothes are indirectly compared to the flying birds. Such a poetic device in which an indirect comparison is made is known as metaphor. In the same line, the white clean clothes are directly compared to the snow. The poetic device in which direct comparison is made is known as simile. Now look at the second stanza of the poem. Look at these lines. Like restive horses, they caper and prance. Like fairy tale witches, they wildly dance. Children, here, the clothes are directly compared to restive horses and fairy tale witches because of their restless, unsteady, joyful movements. Thus, the poetic device for these lines is simile. Let's look at the other line. They shiver and skip in the merry March wind. Here, the clothes are spoken of as persons and given the human qualities of shivering and skipping. Even the March wind is given the human quality of being merry or happy. The poetic device in which non-living things are given the human qualities is known as personification. Now look at the third stanza of the poem. Look at the first lines. One I saw dancing excitedly, struggling so wildly till she was free. Here, one of the clothes is said to be dancing and struggling, which are again human qualities. So the poetic device is personification. Let's read the next line. She flew like a bird and no one can find her. Here, since the cloth is directly compared to a bird, the poetic device is simile. Now look at the first line of the fourth stanza. I saw her gleam like a sail in the sun. Children, here, the cloth is compared to a boat this time, since it shines like a sail in the light of the sun. So the figure of speech is simile. In the same line, the sir sound is repeated in the words sail and sun. So the poetic device is alliteration. Let's look at another example of alliteration used in the next line. Flipping and flapping and flopping for fun. Here the words flipping, flapping and flopping begin with the same fl sound. We have already learned that the poetic device in which the sound gets repeated is known as alliteration. Look at the next line. Nobody knows where she now can be. Here, the order of words is changed for poetic effect. The correct word order would be nobody knows where she can be now. Such a poetic device in which the order of words is changed for poetic effect is called inversion. Look at the next line. Hid in a ditch or drowned in the sea. Here, the d sound is repeated in the words ditch and drowned. So the poetic device is alliteration. Now look at the last stanza of the poem. But she will never come back to my pocket, I know. Children, in this line, the handkerchief is given the human quality of coming back. So personification is used here. That's all for today, children. Now open to a fresh page of your notebook. Write today's date in the margin and poetic devices as the heading. Write down the poetic devices given in the PDF file neatly in your notebook. Thank you, children.